Hey guys, it's Dave from NerdTalk. For nerds, by nerds, hang out with these nerds.
I'm Ted.
I'm Ryan.
And today we're going to do our weekly wrap where we're talking about guest videos. And look what Easy Roller sent us.
So if you want to jump down to the description, you can find all the links to everything that we did over the past week, be it on the website or the YouTube channel. It's all there. Whatever you missed, whatever you want to watch again, they're all conveniently placed down below.
All right, gentlemen, if you will now reach between your legs and grab what's there.
Oh man, what is there? Oh wow. So Easy Roller Dice.
Look, NerdTalk just got way better looking.
Yeah, exactly. That's an improvement. So Easy Roller Dice has some sweet dice trays. So if you want to order yours, you can go to Easy Roller Dice /NerdTalk, which would help us out. But these are really cool, nice like red interior lining. Dice bounce off the side pretty nicely, and your players will absolutely not fucking use them, as we've observed during our gameplay.
Yeah, but the GM uses his all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like, I definitely used them. Todd was like, nope, I will roll around this goddamn tray.
His dice would curve.
Yeah. The advantage of these trays is obviously, when you're rolling dice, whether it's, just a single D20 or you've got that massive empowered fireball, your dice aren't flying off the table. You're not going to lose your stuff.
Ryan likes to use the Yahtzee cup from Easy Roller Dice to roll his dice.
The dice cup, like, when you get upwards of 8d6... Like, it's nice to, like, I don't have the biggest hands. So it's nice to, like, just throw them in the cup. You just smash them.
Donald Trump?
Yeah. Hashtag tiny hands. So, like, it's good to load up a bunch of dice, shake it up, throw it into the dice tray, and it's awesome. And also, too, their dice trays are also self-serving in the fact that the metal dice that they make are kind of heavy. Mm-hmm. And if you had, like, a nice wooden table or a glass table...
Had a glass table,
or some nice scratches, unless you want that on your table.
So that's the other advantage.
Yeah. I have one that's homemade by a professional woodworker, Ted's grandfather.
But you'll never use that again. No, I'm kidding.
which actually, so I was comparing the two, where that one's a little more sturdy. This one's padded better.
Yes.
Because the other one really is just wood and felt and whatnot. So it's cool for a comparison. These are really well made.
And they're exact same size, too, so they stack all nice and easy.
Yes. Yes, they do. So with that, this past week, you guys may have noticed Monday morning we had a video go up and we weren't in it.
Oh, no. Miraculous. How'd that happen?
Gareth has started a new channel for tabletop gaming. His other channel is primarily for miniatures and terrain.
Crafting, yeah.
Yeah, so he wanted to branch out and do a channel basically on just role-playing and discussions about gaming. And I believe he's also for a while been working on his own game system.
Yeah, isn't that
as well?
I feel like some people, based on the dislike number, are like, shut your goddamn mouth and just make things, monkey. Make things.
Well, the new system is his, right? The 7D system?
Yeah, that's he's been working on that for a while. He invited me to a private Facebook group for that probably 2 years ago, and I really haven't looked at it.
Oh no!
Wah wah wah.
Yeah,
but then again, since we've done NerdTalk, I must have had at least half a dozen different systems that someone's been working on shoved in front of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I barely have time to do everything I'm doing now, let alone, invest in, something you're working on. And
right.
Matter of fact, we have people that have told us, why don't you make your own game? Like Scott Garibay is huge on, you guys should be making your own game and your own books. And I'm like, but everything out there is so good. I don't know what I would do different that would call for a new game system.
Unless you're making a game that begs for a very specific mechanic to it that you just see isn't being serviced by some other generic enough. Like, if we were to do a book, it would probably be in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
So that just only makes sense.
When you have so many unique and interesting mechanics that are already out there, be it Mutants and Masterminds built on the D20 system, Fate building off of the Fate and Fudge dice system, or Star Wars with their narrative dice, their custom dice,
Cypher system with the way they do DM intrusions
right.
and the pools.
So unless you'd be like, all right, well, let's mix and match, or let's,
exactly. That's what I told him. Just I think like if I made a game, it would just be a hodgepodge of all those other games.
So like, really, there's no benefit. Like, I'd rather sit and talk about the stuff that we already know and love rather than try to come up with our own.
Good point. And I think that's what I've mirrored a lot. And I've seen other people pretty much that are pretty well known in the hobby say kind of the same thing. That like there's so much good stuff out there.
Well, also too, like most people that are the majority of people that go and try to make their own game system are kind of novices who like you need to cut your teeth first on the things that are already established, and like just from like a marketing and branding aspect, like you need to get known in the games industry working on their other people's shit before you go off and make your own thing.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic building a car from scratch. Like you need to work on cars first before you do that.
Yeah.
Like literally one of the systems,
you need to know where the flux capacitor is in that car before you go and try to build your own car.
Exactly.
And then you're like, oh shit, I forgot the flux capacitor because I never learned
so
where
it's
that
not gonna
was.
do anything when I hit 88 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
exactly.
So like someone put one of these systems in front of me and I was like, well, why did you do that? I was like, I don't know, to be different. I'm like, that is the most horrible reason to do anything. Yeah. Like if it doesn't serve a function or form, I don't. Yeah, why would you even bother?
Yeah, like I didn't get to play Deadlands, but I would love to.
The first question I always ask is, can you play your game in its entirety in another system? If the answer is yes, they'll make it.
Yeah. Well, so like the idea of Deadlands is an awesome Western game with like demons and stuff. I've never gotten to play it, but I love the fact that like it uses poker chips and cards because like Western, what do you think of but people sitting around playing cards in a saloon?
Right.
So like it's very thematic in that game. And actually, I remember hearing about in their first edition there was like a wizard. The idea was that they kind of were like playing poker with the devil, and so all their spells were cued off of like how successful they were. Sometimes the effects would be adverse if they did horribly, or they'd be like in power. So their spells had like variants to them and variables.
I believe Savage Worlds also has a deck mechanic, and I also believe there's a Savage Worlds Deadlands.
Yeah.
So I could be wrong now. I'm sure you guys will let me know if I am.
Like everything's been done in Savage Worlds, so
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, and see, that's the other thing now, right? There's an OGL for 5th edition, 3.5, hence Pathfinder, Cypher System, Fate,
Apocalypse World,
Mutants and Masterminds. So literally, like, you have all these like engines that you could use to build a game for.
Yeah.
Why create your own engine?
Yeah, back in like the 80s, you didn't necessarily have that. That people were kind of creating. I mean, I think it came off of like the tech world of having like open source code. So people started allowing in the 90s open source games as well, so that people could build off of it. And also too, the hobby was in a lull towards the early 90s, and I think that was just an effort to like bring a resurgence.
And it worked.
And it absolutely did work.
So so that being said, there's like so many different ways to play the game you want to play.
Absolutely.
And unless I'm like snoozing under a tree one day and an apple falls on my head and I become inspired, that is probably the only way that I'll ever like be like, all right, I'm making my own game now.
Yeah, that is one way, or you could just say, all right, well, if you work on, as Ryan was talking about, making splat books or making alterations to something to change one of the games that you're already playing, like there's no reason to go down that road.
Well, but the other thing too is, now I will say this, like anything, the more you exercise your brain in any particular direction, the better you generally get at doing that thing, as long as you strive for improvement. So like if we spend a lot of times building supplements and materials for games, that doesn't mean that we're not going to become inspired because of doing all of that, and stretching our brains and going, oh, here's another way of doing it that hasn't been done yet. I can't believe it.
Well, I mean, like, also too, a lot of times what people do is they like start veering towards complexity, and it's the things I'm very much resistant from. They're like, oh, D&D combat's so abstract and I want to be much more realistic, and then it's like, great, I have to do fucking 15 die rolls to figure out whether I hit a dude. Like, oh, they get to defend and then I counter defend their defense, and then like so on and so on. I'm just like, no, I don't want a chain of dice rolls to be deterministic. I just want to roll against one number, make it simple and easy.
Well, not only that, the other problem with realism is in real combat, people die die often, and it isn't always the bad guys.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh great,
Well,
I get to make another character again.
Other systems are more lethal too, like a GURPS or Savage World. Like some of them, like one hit and you're just dead, depending on the severity of the wound.
and all the OSR stuff as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not really fun to me. Like, yeah.
No. Well, but here's the thing. Also, in those game systems, you do everything you possibly can to avoid a combat encounter. Or if you are, like, you generally only pick fights that you know you're going to win pretty handily. Like beating up children or something.
Yeah. Well, not OSR, man. I still feel like in OSR, it's like I'm with a stack of characters.
What is OSR?
Old school
Oh,
revival.
okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
So basically, first edition Dungeons and Dragons, was it Lamentations of the
Lamentations of
Flame
Flame
Princess? Yeah. So there's other games out there that are kind of along those veins.
And if those are the games you like, to each your own. I like character development and plot development as opposed to.
I like escapism. That's what I like. So
all role-playing games are escapism. It's just like, just because in one version you can like get one-shotted. And
no, that feels more like that feels too much like my real life.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I escaped anything. Oh look, I'm getting kicked in my imaginary nuts. So that's just me. But I think we started off talking about a guest appearance on our channel from Gareth, which led to the 7D system, which led to systems in general.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, do we want to talk at all about the koala dial?
The koala dial. We should talk about the koala dial.
We've been talking on the channel for a long time about the koala dial eating Gareth's channel and whatever have you. Well, he finally made the koala dial.
He did a PDF.
Yep.
Yeah,
And a video.
and an awesome piece of art. Well, I don't know if he did or if he.
No,
He
that was
did.
absolutely him.
There was
It was really
him
fun.
drawing it.
Yeah.
I'm positive it was his hand.
Yes. I would
He
say
could have
so.
cut off somebody's hand and just like held it. It's easier that way when you're recording to just cut off somebody else's
So
hand.
the koala dial video he did, he's reading the PDF while he's fast timing the drawing.
Yeah.
So I
And
thought that was
he
pretty
did
cool.
pretty in-depth
ecology.
That's the word I was looking for. And I was like, oh my god, how do they reproduce? They gotta lay eggs. Oh my god, they do lay eggs, and they put them in a tree in a nest. This is
that's
amazing.
So I like the fact that he went so far to not only make this rich ecology, but he started giving it like alternative names, like the was it the crocodile of the forest or the bear of the water or something along those
The tree
lines?
croc, maybe.
Well, he also said known as drop bears.
The drop bears.
But
That was
except for that's an actual thing in Australia, though, right?
Is it?
I've seen the term. I've seen the term around.
I
I don't know if it's a made-up thing or an actual thing, but I've seen the term before.
I thought he made it up because I'd never heard that.
But he
term.
did put a couple others in there, and
I like that. It gives it that much more culture, and it makes the creature more real in a setting.
I think it really exists in Australia. Is really what it comes down to.
it probably does.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about, did we coin the phrase koala dials, or did he?
I don't know. I want to say it was a Ryanism.
I think it was too, but
Might have been.
So now it begs the question: do we make the koala dial for 5th edition stats? Because the PDF that he gives out makes it a 7D system. So
We could do a convert. We could collab with that.
we'll totally just steal it.
Yeah,
We'll go copyright it first.
Oh no. Oh, that's terrible.
I'm sure Gareth would be all right if we put out a 5th edition, maybe on the website version or something. We could do something like that.
So, and then also we had our first Nerd Talk with Brad Guigar, the creator of Evil Inc. So if you guys are into it, just please leave a comment on that video if you want to see more of them. I know some other people that are like fantasy artists. We know some game designers. We have some interesting things in the queue if you're into it. Maybe we can try to keep them a little shorter. I don't know. So
I wonder if our friend Louis Porter Jr. can put us in touch with Sean K. Reynolds.
yeah,
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm recently listened to what is it? It's on my phone. I've been listening to it since yesterday. I found a new podcast, Metagamers Anonymous,
okay.
and they have an interview with Monty Cook,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, we could do that. I'd definitely love to talk to him about Monty Cook, especially with we're starting to delve into the cipher system.
Right.
Him and Bruce Cradell have always stuck out in my mind from 3rd edition. I was like, oh, their names on it is going to be weird,
Right.
like in a good way though.
Yeah.
They always did like the strange stuff.
Right.
The Strange.
And then they make
Get it? The Strange.
then they make a book called The Strange. Yeah, yeah.
Bruce Cradell, I think, also did one of the manuals of the planes. I don't know if he did the original one or not, but he definitely did one of them. And the Astral Dreadnought on the cover is like one of the most iconic images in my opinion. I love that thing.
I agree.
I think someone in NAG is like, help me make this astral thing or whatever. I'm like, I do Astral Dreadnoughts only. There's only one kind of astral thing, and it's a Dreadnought.
Yeah, if it's astral, whatever's preceding or following that is Dreadnought.
And if it's not, you're wrong. You're playing it wrong.
Yeah,
You've lost D&D.
clearly. All right. Well, that should be the end of this, right?
I think so. With that, guys, until next time,
Stay nerdy.